The call that broke everything. Denver 3 days before Christmas 2022. Snow blankets the streets, soft, relentless, muffling the city's heartbeat. Jazz-tinged carols drift from passing cars, their notes curling like smoke in the icy air. I'm 32, Dr. Emily Harper, exhausted, numb-fingered, stepping into my Capitol Hill apartment, a one-bedroom box that smells of pine and regret. Double shift at the community clinic, 12 hours of geriatrics, of holding hands, of charting fading lives. My boots hit the floor, navy scrubs peel off like a second skin, and I sigh at the suitcase by the door. Pine green scarf, folded neat, gifts wrapped with trembling care. A leather journal for Mom, vintage cufflinks for Dad, a rare vinyl for my brother, Ethan, the golden boy. Nutmeg for Mom's pie, toffee for Aunt Clara's sweet tooth, every detail perfect, intentional, a prayer to be enough. My phone buzzes. Ethan's name lights the screen. My older brother, 34, the dreamer, the charmer. Hey, Em, I say, smile. Automatic, muscle memory. His voice careful, like he's stepping over glass. Hey, Emily, just a heads up. Sophie's coming to Christmas. Sophie, his new girlfriend, a sound healer, all crystals and sage, who once cleansed Mom's house because my clinic work carried heavy energy. She's big on vibe alignment, Ethan says. And, your job? The death stuff? It's a lot for her. So maybe this year you skip it. Cool? I freeze, staring at my thrift store tree, its lights blinking, mocking. Nothing personal? He says. Nothing personal. Before I can speak, Mom calls. Her voice sugar over steel. Sweetheart, we just want peace. Sophie's sensitive, you know that. If you come, it'll be awkward. Honestly, if you show up, we might not open the door. No lies, no softness, just rejection, clean as a scalpel. I don't shout, don't cry, don't beg. I stand there, phone hot in my hand, gifts glinting like broken promises, wrapped for people who never wanted me. My parents left me, long before. This call, when I was 10, shuttled to Grandma's while they chased Ethan's art dreams in New York, leaving me to grow up in a poor family, scraping by on food stamps and hand-me-downs. I was the fixer, the steady one, the scaffolding, holding up their crumbling lives. But tonight, in the cinnamon-scented silence with my radiator humming, I let that silence speak. I move slow, deliberate, like folding chairs, after a funeral. My laptop glows, bank app open. The $200 monthly transfer for their overdue mortgage canceled. The $500 to Ethan's startup fund locked. Dad's car insurance, co-signed last year, terminated. My social media accounts, the ones I used to share family photos, to keep us connected, deleted, wiped clean, like I was never there. Not angry, just done. For years, I thought giving, fixing, showing up with casseroles with calmness would earn me a seat at their table, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I was wrong. Outside, snow falls, soft, certain, burying Denver in a white hush. I stare through the window and feel it. Relief. No more shrinking, no more tiptoeing, no more begging to be let in. This Christmas, I won't be the outsider. Face pressed to the glass. I won't be. Almost enough. Chapter 2. The Invisible Daughter. I grew up knowing my place. My family, poor, always teetering on the edge of collapse. Mom, a seamstress, stitching. Prom dresses for richer kids. Dad, a handyman, patching roofs until his back gave out. Ethan, the miracle baby, born when I was 2, their pride, their joy, their spotlight. Me? I was the practice run, Dad's words, tossed out at barbecues. The test kid had to earn her keep. By 10, they left me with Grandma in a sagging Denver duplex, while they followed Ethan to art camps, to galleries, to dreams that never paid the bills. I learned early, love was transactional. At 12, I balanced Grandma's checkbook, stretched her pension to cover rent. At 15, I worked weekends at a diner to buy school supplies, while Ethan spray-painted murals, called it passion. Mom hung his art in the living room, a shrine to his brilliance. My report cards, straight A's, tucked in a drawer, unseen. When I dropped a plate at 16, Dad lectured, "Careless Emily, always so careless." When Ethan crashed the family car, chasing a vision, they laughed, "Boys will be boys." High school, I filled out my FAFSA, alone, left it on the counter for Mom to sign. She didn't. Never asked about my dreams, about college, about me. When my med school acceptance came, I held it like a trophy, ran home, heart pounding. Mom glanced. "That's intense, don't lose yourself." She turned back to her celery, her knife, her silence. Ethan dropped out 3 times for a podcast, a band, a healing collective. They threw him a welcome back dinner, candles, wine, balloons. My graduations, no parties, no cards, just me in a cap and gown, smiling for strangers. My sketchbook, filled with hospital doodles, Denver sunsets, patients' hands, mid-recovery. I found it once, in their trash, under takeout menus, expired coupons. "Scrap paper," they shrugged, laughed. Maybe I was too. But I kept going, through med school, residency, graveyard shifts, in quiet rooms where most doctors didn't linger. Geriatrics, my calling, because I saw myself in those forgotten faces, people who poured out their lives, only noticed when something broke. At home, my role never changed. The fixer, the calm one, the invisible hand, keeping cracks from spreading. When their roof leaked after a blizzard, insurance denied, I paid $6,000 quietly. When Ethan's gigs dried up, I wired $2,000, no questions. Mom's hip surgery, physical therapy, missed payments, I covered, coordinated, because I loved them, or because I believed love was sacrifice, a debt I had to pay. They never said thank you, never needed to. In their world, love was assumed, like air, like water, taken, without thought. Chapter 3. The Weight of Being Useful. For years I thought that's what family meant, being unseen but indispensable, like a bolt, holding up a bridge, essential but ignored. I was the oldest, the one who fixed, who paid, who stayed. Ethan, the artist, could skip rent for a new canvas, and they'd call it ambition. Me, taking extra shifts to cover their bills, was overdoing it, too intense. I told myself it was easier to stay invisible. Gratitude made you visible, and visible things could be judged or left behind. After shifts, I'd sit by my window, peppermint tea, steaming, and wonder what it felt like to be seen. Not for what I fixed, not for what I paid, but for me, Emily. But wishes were for Ethan, with his sketchbooks, his dreams. Not for me, with tax software and heating bills. So, I kept going. Brought bread pudding, every Christmas, the one they loved, smiled. Who made this again? Like it appeared, by magic. When Ethan's rent fell short, I wired money, silent. When Dad called, lost in tax forms, I stayed up, past midnight, guiding, while my own taxes sat unopened by the fridge. Thanksgiving, 2022, Ethan bought vintage, Lenses for his documentary, couldn't afford. His flight home. I paid $400. He hugged me at the gate. Best sister ever. A week later, forgotten another favor in the ledger I never spoke of. No one asked, I was always there, a ghost in their machinery, fixing, smoothing, unseen, but necessary. Gratitude would have made it harder to keep leaning on me without pause. So I stayed hidden, behind their comfort, until that night, when their calls banished me from Christmas for being too much. Chapter 4. The Night I Broke Free. That night, in my kitchen, phone still warm, from rejection, cinnamon in the air, snow falling, like absolution, I knew. They'd never see me, not because they didn't care, but because I'd trained them not to. I'd carried their weight so long they forgot it cost me. I opened my laptop, bank app glowing like a confession. Or $200, monthly, for their mortgage, canceled. $500 to Ethan's dreams, locked. Car insurance for dad, terminated. My social media, the family photos, the memories I'd curated, deleted, erased, like they'd erased me. It felt robotic at first, taps on a screen. Cancel, lock, delete, like brushing my teeth. But each click unfurled something inside me. Not anger, not numbness, but freedom. A bird, wings dry, cage door, ajar. I grabbed a notebook, listed the debts I'd swallowed silently. Flights, surgeries, bounced checks, broken cars, emergencies I'd patched without thanks, without ceremony. The ink blurred, not tears, but exhaustion, finally witnessed. I wasn't angry, no matter how they'd spin it. Emily's cold. Emily's intense. No, I was done. Being invisible means they only notice when you're gone, when things break. The mortgage won't sting until the notice comes. The maintenance fund won't matter until pipes burst in January. Ethan's gigs will rise and fall, but no net, no sister, stitching it together with love and bank wires. I didn't announce it. No dramatic exit, no cryptic posts. I didn't tell Aunt Clara, the only one who sent birthday cards, in cursive. I unplugged my half-written Christmas message, wishing warmth, deleted it. The tree's lights off, the gifts slid into the closet, their shiny paper, ridiculous in my clarity. No tears, no sadness, just truth. Love isn't an unpaid job. Family shouldn't feel like a subscription with hidden fees. Chapter 5. The Silent Christmas morning, 2022, Denver wakes, soft, gray, fog cloaking the skyline, snow clinging like forgotten frosting. I sit by the window, wrapped in a blanket, rosemary-scented mug of cinnamon apple tea, steam, rising like memory. No tree lights, no playlist, no calls. The gifts untouched in the corner, colorful, naive, like they belong to someone who believed effort equaled belonging. No grief, no ache, just stillness, sacred, cleansing, like breath after a scream. I hadn't realized how much noise I'd carried until it vanished. Noon passes, quiet. No clatter from Mom's kitchen, no selfies from Ethan and Sophie, no Venmo requests for holiday surprises. Just silence and me, whole, still. Evening. Falls, sky bruised purple, phone buzzes, once, twice, 3 times. I ignore it. Work thread, probably. But then, a message. Aunt Clara, Emily, answer. You've done enough damage. Damage? I wasn't there. I pick up, Voice rough. What happened? Her tone, gentle, like approaching. Something broken. They're saying you ruined Christmas, but you weren't. Even there, she explains, fragmented, like piecing a shattered vase. After dinner, Sophie, wine glass in hand, admires family photos on the mantel. She pauses at one, me, 12, mid-laugh, maroon sweater, sleeve swallowing my hand. That's Dr. Emily Harper, right? Clara nods. She sat with my friend through the night, saved her life. Sophie blinks. Wait, Emily's your sister? The one you talk about? Silence. Forks freeze. Glasses stop clinking. Ethan pales. Mom's smile cracks. No one answers, not really. But their half-truths, their evasions, are enough. Sophie gathers her things, thanks them, sharp like glass, and leaves. By the time Clara calls, the ripple spreads. Sophie posted, nothing loud, just honest lines about families, erasing people to fit prettier stories, about silence as a weapon, about damage in rooms lined with smiling photos of people they pretend don't exist. I don't see it, don't need to. I picture it, the crash of their curated image, family friends reading between lines, Ethan's art circles, small, gossipy, unraveling, their charm, their exclusivity. For once, someone saw me, not as a burden, but as a doctor, a sister, a fi. Human Chapter 6. The Fallout. Begins December 26th, desperation leaks, through polished cracks. An email. Let's reset things. Signed, Mom, Dad, Ethan. Like a corporate memo. Bland. Empty. No apology, just holiday stress. Valuing family. Buried, the real ask. Reach out to Sophie, smooth it over. Not for me, but for Ethan's career, his art shows, his brand, at risk. Not about me, never about me. Just the mess, my absence left. A mirror they can't avoid. I don't reply. That night, snow whispers against my windows. Phone buzzes, not family. David, Reynolds hospital administrator, kind eyes, firm handshake. Emily, he says. Awkward, but your dad called, says he's worried about your emotional state, suggests time off. My blood turns to ice, sharp, hardening. Dad, who called me too intense, now paints me unstable to control. Me to silence me. David sees through it. But the message is clear, he says. Not reconciliation, but leverage. It fails. Then, the smear, group texts to cousins, aunts. Emily's struggling, isolating, overwhelmed. No mention of Christmas, of exclusion, concern, weaponized to control. A cousin I haven't seen since Ethan's art show texts, hey, yoga retreat discount if you need it. Overwhelmed, they say. Each manipulation, each betrayal, wrapped in care, sharpens my clarity. They're not protecting me, they're protecting their story, where Ethan shines, and I'm the utility, quiet, waveless. Chapter 7. The knock at the door, January midwinter cold, presses my windows like it's breathing. I'm at my desk charting notes, tea cold, forgotten. A knock, soft, tentative. I freeze, heart steady, calm. Through the peephole, Mom, Dad, Ethan, coats bundled, smiles thin, a perfect apology, framed in desperation. I open the door, an inch. Cold slipping through, stinging my skin, not enough to let them in. Mom speaks soft, practiced. We just want to talk. Her purse clutched tight like it holds all the right words. I don't move, don't smile, don't soften. I see it. They're not here for me. but for the old Emily, the one who believed love was earned, who folded herself to fit their spaces. That girl doesn't live here. Silence grows, brittle, loud. Dad's jaw twitches, irritation in his eyes. Ethan shifts, like he'll float away. They're uncomfortable, good. I say one word, no. No speeches, no justifications, no bridges, built from my splinters. Mom's face, cracks, confusion, disbelief, as if the scaffolding she leaned on crumbled by choice. I close the door, quiet, not a slam, a boundary, locked with steady hands. Outside, voices rise, pleading, then sharp, frustrated, not used, to denial. I don't listen. Return to my desk, wrap my fingers around cold tea, silence, sacred, wrapping, me. On my shelf, a framed letter from Sophie, ink-smudged, intentional, careful. I look at it, weightless, for the first time. I'd spent years molding myself to be a daughter. They'd applaud, soaking their guilt, their silence, their neglect, turning it to fuel to keep showing up. I wasn't a mirror to reflect their pride or absorb their disappointment. There was something else, and maybe that was enough. Chapter 8. The silence that spoke they don't leave right away. Shoes shuffle, voices murmur, desperation curling at the edges. Another knock, softer. Emily, please, we just want to talk. I stay seated, Sophie's letter anchoring me. The knocking softens, stops. Silence settles, not hollow but full. Forgiveness doesn't mean reopening the door. Sometimes it's choosing not to. A wall, not of bitterness, but self-worth. Minutes pass, car doors clunk, engine hums, hesitant, they're gone. Not shattered, just denied. I walk to the window, curtain pulled just enough to see taillights, fade into snow-dusted streets. No flinch, no phone, no urge to chase. Peace, real peace settles deep in my chest when you stop begging for a seat at a table never set for you. My apartment, warmer now, not louder, not brighter, just mine. The tree, lights off, ornaments untouched, no longer sad. The gifts, reminders, I tried, I loved, I gave, my best. They didn't see it. I brew tea, stronger, steam curling, blanket tight across my shoulders. Sophie's letter catches light. You made a difference, she wrote. You didn't give up. My fingers brush the frame, solid, real. Even when family refuses your worth, someone sees, someone honest, someone watching. Chapter 9. The work that mattered days pass, slow, gentle, like breaths after a storm. Silence, no longer isolation, but space, I'd never claimed. I return to work, make rounds, sit with patients, some with flowers, some with empty rooms, just me, and the of machines. I listen, I stay, I do the work. That doesn't trend, doesn't shine, but holds lives together. One afternoon, a package, no return address, my name, in slanted ink. Inside, ivory stationery, Sophie's handwriting, smudged, careful. She writes about her grandmother, yoga twice a week, farmer's market, Saturdays. How, when the world gave up, one doctor didn't, stayed past hours, treated her like a person, worthy of joy, of dignity. You didn't just save her, Sophie writes. You reminded her she was living. I read it 3 times, trace the words, frame it, hang it, above my desk where sunlight touches it. I was never invisible, never too much, never a burden. I was enough, all along. Chapter 10. The final plea weeks later. Another email. Less polished, desperate. We miss you. Never meant to hurt. Can we start over? Buried. The truth. Ask Sophie. To take down her post. Ethan's struggling. His career's at risk. Not remorse, not love. Just another transaction. Another debt they expect I'll pay. I don't respond. Some bridges don't need rebuilding. Some doors stay closed, not hate, but respect. For myself. Evening at my desk, sunlight stretches across Sophie's letter. I close my eyes, feel whole, not because someone said I mattered, but because I stopped asking for permission to believe it. The snow keeps falling, erasing paths I'd walked to make myself smaller. I'm free, not climbing, but standing, tall, where I belong. Chapter 11. The Legacy of Silence. Months pass, spring thaws, Denver, snow melts, streets gleam like they're reborn. I keep working, keep healing, keep being Emily. No calls, no texts from them, just silence, and I let it be. Ethan's art show, flops, gossip spreads, his brand, tarnished. Mom and dad, face eviction, mortgage unpaid, no safety net, no Emily. They don't reach out, not really, just whispers through cousins. Emily's changed, she's cold. I smile, not cold, just whole. Aunt Clara visits, one Sunday, brings coffee, sits on my couch. You did the right thing, she says. They leaned on you too long, never saw you. She tells me, Sophie's post, still up, a quiet truth, rippling in art circles, in family threads, a mirror they can't unsee. I nod, sip my coffee, feel the weight of being seen, not as a fixer, but as me. One evening, I walk to the clinic. For a late shift, stars piercing the Denver sky. My phone buzzes, a message from a patient's daughter. Thank you, Dr. Harper, for staying, for caring. I pause, breath catching, snow crunching under my boots. This is my family, the ones who see me not for what I give, but for who I am. I think of Sophie's letter, framed, glowing, in my apartment. I think of the gifts, still in the closet, not symbols of rejection, but of love I gave freely. I think of the silence I chose, not to hurt, but to heal. They called me too much, too intense, a burden. They were wrong. I was the strength they never deserved, the heart they never saw, the woman who saved herself when they left her to break. If this resonates, if you've ever felt unseen, unwanted, like you had to earn love through sacrifice, know this: you are enough. You don't need to shrink to fit. You don't need to beg for a seat. Build your table, set it, for those who see you, who stay, who love without cost. I'm Emily Harper, and I'm free, not because they finally saw, but because I did.